Okay, so we've got our little glass bead on. I've built up a dam right behind the bead on the hook, and this way the bead won't move back and forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a tail, but we're going to make it out of good old pheasant feathers. Since this is 16, I usually take about 5 or 6 fibers. That should work. Now, what you want to do is you want to pull them straight off that way. And the reason why is so that it lines all the tips up straight. So we're going to pull it out that way, squeeze it together. You notice that the tips are pretty straight. So anyway, we're going to go up to the hook and we're going to lash these in here. I'm going to move back. I didn't lay a base of thread on this, which technically is optional. This kind of prevents things from sliding. I actually, for this particular fly, I'm not going to go ahead and lay down a base of thread. Okay, so next I'm going to put on, got some wire here, and this is small ultra wire. I'll go ahead and get a piece off of here. Usually I'll use this wire on a spool and actually have it on a bobbin. Because I like everything uniform, I usually go right up to where behind the bead in order to preserve the uniformity. Alright, now I'm going to bring the pheasant tail back, and I'm going to bring it so it's right where the tail actually connects to the shank. So I'm going to wrap that on like that. So we've got our little pheasant tail wire and our tails right there. So now we're going to go ahead and wrap our pheasant tail fibers forward. They'll tend to spread like this, so usually I'll just kind of back it off and give it a slight twist to get those fibers together. Anyway, we're going to build a body till we're about halfway down the hook shank. I'm going to go ahead and tie that in and snip this off. Okay, so we've got our little body there. Now I'm going to wrap this wire on in segmented effects so that you can see that you've got your little segments right here. Sure. I know this is a pretty basic fly, but okay, I'm going to clip off a little bit of this mylar stuff. This is going to form our wing case. I'm also going to use this black Swiss straw. The nice thing about this stuff is that you cut up a little, you unfurl it, you get a little piece of this, and then you unfurl it and you get a lot. Like that. So anyway, what I'm going to do, because I want dark wing cases, I'm going to go ahead and snip this in half. And then I'm going to use a piece about 1/4 of an inch wide, like this. Then I'm going to marry that up with our tinsel. And the reason why I do this is so that, you know, the peacock curls, I'm going to cut that off in the garbage. Alright, so I've got that married off. The Swiss straw is definitely thicker in width than the mylar. Now I'm going to tie that upside down because I want the mylar on top of the fly. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this in. Goes down. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and snip this top section off. And then what I'm going to do is since this is on top right here, I've got it tied down, I'm going to go ahead and take my peacock herl. Peacock is the most buggy substance there is, or the most buggy feather, actually on a lot of things. I tie it on a lot of flies. Anyway, so I've got 2 peacock herls. Usually I'll cut it further down on the stem. If you've got a stick, if you cut it further down on the stem, what happens is you get really a lot thicker fibers off of each strand of peacock. The further you go into the eye, the smaller and actually the finer fibers that you have on each strand. So I use the ones further down here. So anyway, I've got it on here. I'm going to go ahead and use Leroy Hyatt's technique of actually going in and actually wrapping the peacock around the thread and making a little rope. The cool thing about this is it actually strengthens the peacock so that it doesn't come off. It's separating a little bit right there. That's okay. Just a little bit more until we get to right about there. Alright, unwind it. I'm going to tie this off. Okay, so there's our peacock. And snip this off. Alright, now before I do anything, I have this leftover wire, and I'm going to go ahead and wind it all the way up to the head. This also adds a lot more strength and durability. And I don't recommend doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it off with my scissors to save time. Alright, so I'm going to fold this over. You can fold it over at the same time. Sometimes I'll fold over and tie each one separate, but I'm going to do this together. So I'm going to do this Swiss straw first. Then I'm going to do this. Sometimes this, if it isn't really perpendicular here at the back, you'll get sort of a bow in your mylar, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and tie that in. Pretty cool. Sometimes that bow can help, as in it almost looks like a wing case. Okay, so here we've got our fly, we've got our wing case, our peacock that's actually been faceted down by several methods, our body, and our tail. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to tie in our legs. Okay, so for our legs, I'm going to use this mottled partridge. It actually can be a hen feather or whatnot, but the cool thing about this stuff is I got this at Michael's for like $2.99. The reason why I like this stuff from the craft shop is that you get a lot longer fibers. See how long those fibers are? And you get almost a pre-made little V cut right there built into the feather. So I can use this feather for several flies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and cut the middle out where that black spot is. Okay, we've got a V. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the top and sort of peel back these other guys so that we have maybe 4, 5 or 6 fibers on each side. There we go. Alright, so we've got our legs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it in right here so that there's some legs on each side of the fly. So I'm going to pinch it like that with my thumb. And come around once or twice. And then I'm going to view the legs and make sure that they're the same size. Usually if they're longer, I'll just pull the feather out before I really tighten down. But they look to be pretty good right now. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten down. Pretty cool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them off as close as I can. Alright. Now there'll be a little bit of a butt here. That's okay, that actually helps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap a little bit further. Sometimes you can use your fingernail and just force things in behind the bead. Sometimes you really can really do some interesting things when you force things down. Anyway, so let's go ahead and whip finish. I'm going to use my 2 fingers. Now I have really big fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and make a 2, wrap it around, and then use my fingers to do my wet finish around the fly. There we go. Go ahead and snip off our end. And then usually what I do is I'll use a little bit of flex cement. This is like Umpqua's. Stuff's pretty awesome. Really seals everything in there. Okay, now I'm going to wait for that to dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some forceps here. So there's our fly from the top. Excellent, excellent fly. This guy will catch more brown trout in the spring than anything else.